Vice President Sara Duterte opposed the suspension of Cavite 4th District Representative Kiko Barzaga by the House Ethics Committee. She stated that this is not the first time the government has taken action against its critics, recalling the alleged abduction of her father, former President Rodrigo Duterte, a staunch critic of the Marcos administration. Jason Rubrico reports.
Representative Kiko Barzaga has been suspended for 60 days over alleged unethical behavior following his series of criticisms against the government on social media. Vice President Sara Duterte called the move part of a broader effort that speak what she described as uncomfortable truths. According to Duterte, this is not the first time government critics have been penalized. She noted that in less than a year, the country has witnessed the abduction of a former president and the filing of inciting to sedition cases against several individuals, including herself, because of their opposition to those in power. Duterte stressed that in a country that prides itself on democracy, dissent should not be treated as a threat. The Vice President added that the right to free expression is not a privilege of those in power, but a fundamental right guaranteed and protected by the Constitution. She said, "This is the right of every Filipino, especially public servants, who have the duty to speak the truth." Sara further stressed that if an elected official like Barzaga can be silenced, how much more ordinary Filipinos who have no power or position. VP Sara emphasized that true democracy requires courage and that the right to speak freely and to ask questions is the foundation of a democratic society. She said that free expression and dissent should not be treated as threats or reasons for intimidation. In conclusion, she asserted she stands in solidarity with every Filipino who remains steadfast and continues to stand up in the face of intimidation. Reporting for Newsline World, I am Jason Rubrico, SMNI News.
Construction Worker Solidarity or CWS Party List Representative Edwin Guardiola is allegedly connected to a former DPWH Undersecretary who reportedly brought official contractors into the agency. Those officials have since been dismissed from their post. Meanwhile, Representative Leviste explained why he took a selfie with Guardiola during a House session. Margot Gonzalez reports.
According to Batangas 1st District Representative Leandro Leviste, two DPWH officials who also served as suppliers and subcontractors for the agency have already been removed from their post. The officials, an assistant secretary and a director, were reportedly brought into the agency by former DPWH Undersecretary Ari Perez, who resigned last October 17. It will be recalled that Perez stepped down after Leviste revealed that the newly appointed Undersecretary had links to contractors within the agency. Leviste also expressed his gratitude to DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon for his swift action against the officials. Leviste further disclosed that the former undersecretaries allegedly have connections to Construction Workers Solidarity or CWS Party List Representative Edwin Guardiola.
I received information from multiple sources, some in Batangas and some from the previous positions of Ari Perez.
Yeah.
Ari Perez's wife is from Lipa.
Okay.
So, in Batangas, many people confirm that Ari is close to Guardiola. In fact, have said that after Ari was appointed to the DPWH, kung gusto mong makakuha ng budget para sa project sa DPWH, pwede kang dumaan kay Congressman Guardiola dahil malakas siya kay Congressman at kay Ari Perez. Again, my intention is not to belabor the personal side of this topic, but to bring to light that the system of allocating budget needs to be reformed.
According to a press statement, companies allegedly linked to the congressman have collected around 100 billion pesos worth of projects from the DPWH. Leviste also claimed that Congressman Guardiola offered him a deal so he would refrain from interfering in the bidding of infrastructure projects. When he refused, the budget for his district was supposedly affected in retaliation.
In fact, nagbigay siya sa akin ng listahan ng mga proyekto na isinumite niya sa DPWH, and on the same day, sinabi din ng district engineer ng aking distrito sa aking staff na nakakuha sila ng listahan mula kay Congressman Garjola at ito po ay for funding ng DPWH. At kung lumabas itong proyekto, ang arrangement sa DPWH ay kay Congressman Garjola ito, kaya in practice that means siya ang pipili ng contractor, at dahil hindi ko papakialaman ang bidding sa kanyang proyekto, meron akong parking fee. Pero tutol po tayo dito. Pero ang lumabas ay dahil tutol ako sa practice na ito, hindi binibigyan ng extra budget ang aking distrito. Kaya pasensya na lang po.
Meanwhile, Levisa explained why he took a selfie with Garjola during the House plenary session. It will be recalled that Garjola criticized the selfie, calling it a publicity stunt. Levisa said it was the first time he had seen Garjola in session since 3 months ago, and he simply wanted a photo. It was not planned. He added that he rarely attends sessions, which is why the encounter was unexpected.
Congressmen were asked to attend session to vote on the suspension of Congressman Barzaga.
Oh.
That's why there was a high attendance
Okay.
on session on Monday.
Oh.
And for whatever reason, it was the first time that I saw Congressman Garjola in the plenary session for 3 months. And when I entered the hallway, he was right there. So it was the first time that I saw him plenary session in 3 months. My instinct was to capture the moment.
Levisa further clarified that he also approached Garjola to get his response to allegations regarding kickbacks from infrastructure projects. Despite the issues involving Garjola, Levisa said he has no plans to file a complaint with the Ethics Committee and believes it would be better to bring the matter to the Office of the Ombudsman.
I think the proper forum is the Ombudsman. Kasi hindi ka naman makulong sa ethics case, di ba?
Oo, wala.
Oh,
At the most, expulsion.
Hindi ma-freeze yung assets mo sa ethics case, di ba?
For God and my beloved Philippines, this has been Marit Gonzalez, SMNI News.
The Department of Agriculture announced that the importation of pork from Spain will be temporarily prohibited. For the reasons behind this move, see the report by Sheena Torno.
The Philippines is not the only country affected whenever African swine fever or ASF spreads rapidly among pigs. Even Spain, the second largest source of the country's imported pork supply, has also been affected. This comes after the country reported an ASF outbreak. As a result, Agriculture Secretary Francisco Chu Laurel Jr. has ordered stricter monitoring and inspection of pork shipments entering the Philippines.
Starting, ang na-identify namin is yung anything produced after November 11 will not be allowed until maklear na sila for ASF.
The secretary further emphasized that there's no cause for concern regarding the country's pork supply. He said he does not see any impact from the ASF outbreak in Spain, particularly in terms of meat prices in major markets in Metro Manila.
Sa effect naman sa local pork supply natin, there is no effect dahil punong-puno lahat ng cold storages natin ng pork. At sa merkado naman, actually stable pa rin yung prices ng pork. It's not, wala na yung 450 na liempo, no? Mas mababa na ngayon ang liempo kasim at pigi. No? So, then as I mentioned, maraming ang imported. So it's, I think this Christmas season, medyo reasonable ang price ng pork, no? Pero siyempre sa demand baka tumaas ng konti. But
Meanwhile, the planned implementation of the maximum suggested retail price or MSRP on certain imported agricultural commodities on December 1 did not push through. MSRP was only applied to imported red and white onions. However, according to the secretary, MSRP for imported pork and carrots will proceed on Friday, December 5.
if I am not mistaken, from what 370 yata yung liempo at at 350 yata yung kasim. Carrots din, baka 120 rin.
Regarding galunggong, Laurel admitted that the supply of the fish is currently low, which is why its price is noticeably high. At present, it is being sold at around 300 pesos per kilogram, which is not far from the pricing of pork.
I talked to yung mga qualified importers the last 3 days. Ay sa Galunggong, konti lang daw pumapasok kasi walang mabili sa sources. So talagang ang Galunggong will remain high.
According to the secretary, consumers can turn to other alternative fish such as bangus, tilapia, and mackerel or tulingan. Of the expected 55,000 metric tons of galunggong set to enter the Philippines, only about 30% has been imported so far.
Hindi, wala talagang supply kasi it's a supply and demand thing Kung kung limited talaga yan, tataas talaga ang presyo. Kasi I'm not saying na bababa yan, I'm just being honest about it, diba? But then there's others, because kung ganyan kamahal yan, magmanok na lang kayo.
For God, for my beloved Philippines, this has been Sheena Torno, SMNI News.
Former Senator Bong Revilla Jr. and several other personalities may face multiple charges in connection with allegedly anomalous flood control projects. Sheena Torno is back for more news.
At a little past 3 in the afternoon on Wednesday, the Independent Commission for Infrastructure formally submitted its gathered evidence against several government officials and private individuals. This is in connection with the ongoing investigation into alleged irregularities in the country's flood control projects. The ICA recommended to the Office of the Ombudsman the filing of direct or indirect bribery, corruption of public officials, plunder, and other administrative charges against former Senator Bong Revilla Jr., Maynard Ngu, Gerald Opulencia, Manny Bulusan, Ruel Umali, Jean Ryan Altea, Corlin Yap Villa, J.Y. Dela Rosa, Mrs. Patron, and Carlo Aguilar. The ICA also submitted additional evidence to the Ombudsman for possible charges against other former high-ranking officials of the Department of Public Works and Highways or DPWH. This include former DPWH Secretary Manuel Bonoan, Undersecretary Catalina Cabral, Undersecretary Roberto Bernardo, Bulacan 1st District Engineer Henry Alcantara, Assistant District Engineer Bryce Hernandez, and JP Mendoza. Also included are former Acobico Congressman Zal Dico and Commission on Audit COA Commissioner Mario Lipana. The commission also recommended to the Ombudsman a thorough investigation case build-up against Senator Cheese Escudero, Senator Mark Villar, former Senator Nancy Binay, and Senator Grace Poe. For God and for my beloved Philippines, this has been Sheena Torno, SMNI News.
When we return in Africa, Tanzanians voice mixed reactions after the European Parliament freezes 156 million euros in aid over alleged human rights violations tied to last month's disputed election. And in showbiz, Miss Universe Thailand Host Committee President Nawat Itsaragrisil files a criminal complaint against Miss Universe 2025 Fatima Bosch. Don't go away, Newsline World will be back.
Sa panahon ng tag-ulan, hindi lang baha at ulan ang dapat bantayan, kundi pati na rin mga sakit na pwedeng makahawa. At dahil ngayon ay rainy season, nagbabala ang Department of Health laban sa tinatawag na wild diseases. 4 na klase ng sakit na karaniwang nakukuha ng tao tuwing maulan. Ito ang W o waterborne diseases, gaya ng pagdudumi o gastroenteritis. I o influenza-like illnesses, gaya ng sipon, ubo at lagnat. L o leptospirosis, na maaaring makuha mula sa ihi ng mga daga sa baha. At D o dengue, na dala ng mga lamok. Kapag baha, mas mabilis kumalat ang mikrobyo. Kaya't ugaliin ang paghuhugas ng kamay at agad maligo matapos lumusong sa baha. Ano ang dapat gawin para maiwasan ang wild diseases? Tumutok sa weather updates. Magsuot ng kapote at bota. Siguraduhing malinis ang iniinom na tubig. Agad kumonsulta sa health center kung may nararamdamang sintomas. Mainam din gawin ang 40 o ang taob, taktak, tuyo at takip para maiwasan ang dengue sa bahay at komunidad. Maglinis, magmasid, mag-ingat. Labanan ang wild diseases ngayong tag-ulan. Ang paalalang ito ay hatid sa inyo ng SMNI.
Tanzanians have mixed reactions after the European Parliament voted to freeze 156 million euros in aid, citing alleged human rights violations during last month's disputed election. Prince Tripoli has the story.
Vehicles move through the streets of Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, as residents discuss the impact of the aid freeze. Many citizens argue that the decision amounts to collective punishment and will exacerbate the economic burden on ordinary Tanzanians. The EU vote followed chaotic scenes during the October polls, where the opposition claimed hundreds were killed in a security crackdown. President Samia Suluhu Hassan has rejected the allegations, accusing foreign powers of attempting to undermine her government and treating Tanzania like a former colony. Supporters of the ruling party argue that foreign aid often comes with political conditions and say African nations should work toward greater self-reliance.
Itakuwa ni mwanzo mzuri kwa Afrika kujitegemea, maana misaada mingi inayotoka nchi za nje mara nyingi huwa ina madhara. Na madhara mojawapo tunaona wimbi kubwa la mashoga.
But some residents are dreading that the suspension will hit low-income households the hardest. They fear that without EU support, the government will raise taxes to fill the gap.
Tunaumia sisi wa Tanzania wa hali ya chini kushitishwa hii mikopo. Watu waliofanya haya makosa watafutwe na wajibike na sheria ifuatwe.
Some locals echoed calls for national independence from Western assistance, arguing that loans come with long-term costs. Others note that Tanzania's natural resources and tourism industry could provide the revenue needed, but warn that ordinary citizens will shoulder the immediate economic impact of the aid freeze.
Tanzania ina vyanzo vingi sana vya uchumi kama utalii, sehemu za utalii zipo nyingi sana. Alafu pia Watanzania tunakatwa kodi. Lakini pia kitakachotuumiza ni sisi watu wa chini. Tutaongezewa mapato ya kodi, tutakatwa kodi nyingi sana. Kwa hiyo tutakuwa tunafanyaje? Tunaumia, lakini sidhani kama.
The Tanzanian government has accused the European Parliament of acting without natural justice, while pledging to investigate the unrest. With the aid freeze now in place, many residents fear the effects will be felt long before the political dispute is resolved. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Prince Tripoli, SMNI News.
Pia Wurtzbach continues to make waves in the fashion world as she graced the red carpet of the 2025 British Fashion Awards in London, marking her debut at the prestigious event as a special guest of Bulgaria. Meanwhile, Nawat Itsaragrisil, president of the Miss Universe Thailand host committee, has filed a criminal complaint against Miss Universe 2025 Fatima Bosch. Blake Ann has the latest updates.
Miss Universe 2015 Pia Wurtzbach continues to achieve new milestones in her career as a style influencer when she recently attended the 2025 British Fashion Awards as a special guest of Bulgaria, where she is a friend of the house. This marked Wurtzbach's first time walking the London red carpet. The beauty queen dazzled in blue, wearing a creation by fashion designer Robert Woon. Wurtzbach has graced various prestigious Fashion Week events in Milan and Paris, gaining recognition in the fashion industry both in Philippines and internationally. Wurtzbach was named Bulgaria's ambassador in 2014, the first ever Filipino ambassador for the luxury brand. Meanwhile, a legal battle has erupted between Nawat Itsaragrisil, the president of Miss Universe Thailand host committee, and the current Miss Universe 2025 Fatima Bosch. This comes after Itsaragrisil filed a complaint against the beauty queen for what he claims are false accusations circulating online. Nawat Itsaragrisil, president of the host committee for the 74th Miss Universe in Thailand, has filed a criminal complaint against reigning Miss Universe Fatima Bosch. The Miss Universe Thailand organization confirmed this in a statement posted on their official Facebook page on December 3. According to the organization, Itsaragrisil filed a complaint on November 12 to clarify his side regarding a heated exchange between him and Bosch during the delegate orientation. The statement clarified that Itsaragrisil never called Bosch a domed head, contrary to the beauty queen's claims. Furthermore, the Miss Grand International organization, which is led by Itsaragrisil, accused Bosch of continuing to spread false accusations in multiple interviews, allegedly for personal gain and to justify her actions during the competition. On the other hand, Bosch stood by her allegations, stating that her victory was part of a campaign of hate. She also firmly denied any business connections between her father and the Miss Universe organization. Bosch admitted that she was scared during her confrontation with Itsaragrisil, but she stood by her decision to speak out for the sake of her dignity. She also denied rumors that she was planning to give up her crown. And that's all for now. I'm Blake Ann, bringing you the latest showbiz.
Year after South Korea was thrust into political turmoil, citizens returned to the streets of Seoul, not in protest, but in remembrance. For many, December 3rd stands as a defining moment when ordinary people stopped the return of military rule. And tonight, they say the candlelight revolution still burns. This story from Jean Domingo.
Outside the National Assembly, candles lit up the cold winter night as hundreds gathered to mark the first anniversary of the mass uprising that halted former President Yoon Suk-yeol's martial law declaration. Crowds marched, sat on the roads, and sang. Scenes echoing last year's dramatic standoff. Some held light sticks and flags. Others raised posters calling for continued reform. Attendee Kang Na-yoon said the date is impossible to forget.
네네, 오늘은 12월 3일 이제 정확히 1년 전에 이제 윤석열이 비상계엄을 선포했던 날이고 동시에 사실은 시민들이 그 계엄을 막아냈던 날이기도 해서 그것을 기념할 겸 그리고 기념뿐만 아니라 사실은 그 자리에 이제 여성들과 페미니스트들이 있었다라고 하는 것을 또 알리기 위해서 이 자리에 나왔습니다.
But the message tonight was clear. The fight continued, declaring that the candlelight revolution has not yet ended, pointing to ongoing demands for special investigations and concerns that attempted insurrection has not been fully resolved.
여전히 특검과 내란 종식이라는 단어를 끊임없이 써야 하고 그것이 끝나지 않는 상황에 경제도 아직은 완벽하게 돌아갈 수 있는 시간이 오지 않았기 때문에 국민 여러분께서 가장 힘들고 지난한 시간일 거라고 생각을 하거든요. 그런 의미에서는 국민들께 우리 함께 마지막까지 힘을 모아야 되고 법이 정의에 올바르게 서기를 원하는 힘으로 끝까지 함께 해야만 우리는 제대로 된 민주주의를 실현할 수 있다. 그때까지 함께 하시고 힘내주십사 부탁을 드리고 싶습니다.
Many also voiced frustration over a sluggish economy, rising living cost, and political division that has lingered since the 2024 crisis. It was on December 3rd last year when Yoon's suspension of civilian rule ignited nationwide protests, a moment that reshaped South Korea's political landscape. 1 year later, citizens say the lessons of that day must not be forgotten. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Jean Domingo, SM9 News.
In South Korea, more than 30 countries are currently showcasing over 600 groundbreaking innovations at an exhibition in Seoul with a focus on AI, robotics, and automation. Let's find out more about this with Angel Pastor.
The 2025 Seoul International Invention Exhibition is currently underway in Seoul, featuring over 600 innovations from more than 30 countries. The event serves as a platform to showcase Korea's cutting-edge solutions, as well as the latest trends in intellectual property around the world. Among the innovations on display are a fire extinguisher drone, a bed that deploys fitness equipment, rescue robots, smart toilets, and advanced leak detection and containment systems. These AI robots moves in sync with its human operator, while other robots interact with attendees. One of the highlights of the event is a robotic arm ice cream machine, which delighted the crowd. According to John Min Hoon, a tech staff member from AI development company Clevy, their work on a large-scale language model, now trained on a 1.4 trillion parameters, naturally led them to develop solutions like this.
저희는 클랩이라는 회사고요. 저희는 AI 개발 회사로서 지금 초거대 언어 모델을 1.4조 파라미터 규모로 개발을 했고 이 마더 모델을 개발하다 보니까 다양한 솔루션들을 개발할 수 있었는데
He explained that this technology has paved the way for physical AI, enabling robots to respond to real-world environments.
네트워크 환경만 구축이 된다면 지구 반대편에서도 사람의 동작을 그대로 모션을 따라할 수 있는 그래서 다양한 작업 환경에서 응용할 수 있는 그런 기술들을 시연해드리고 있습니다.
Another notable feature of the exhibition is automation solutions. Jiu Sonjin, a tech staff member at Curiosis, a company focused on laboratory automation. One of their key solutions is CPX Alpha, which is designed for synthetic biology. It can perform high throughput screening and large-scale experimental processing with 99% accuracy.
네, 일단 큐리오시스는 연구자분들의 연구의 효율을 향상시키기 위해서 다양한 실험실 자동화 제품을 생산하고 개발하는 그런 회사인데요. 그래서 이번에 보시는 CPX 알파 제품은 최근에 되게 빠르게 성장하고 있는 합성생물학 분야에서 대량의 스크리닝을 처리할 수 있는 그런 제품입니다.
The 2025 Seoul International Invention Exhibition opened on December 3 at COEX in Gangnam-gu, hosted by the Korean Intellectual Property Office and organized by the Korea Invention Promotion Association. The event will run until December 6. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Angel Pastor, SMNI News.
For our sports update, veteran point guard Chris Paul has been released by the Los Angeles Clippers. The 12-time All-Star was axed Wednesday amidst the team's struggles near the foot of the NBA standings, while Arsenal returned to the top of the Premier League table, restoring their 5-point lead after a hard-fought victory over Brentford. More on this with Carlo de la Peña.
The news broke early Wednesday morning when the 40-year-old Paul posted on social media that he was being sent home during the team's road trip in Atlanta. Clippers chief Lawrence Frank later confirmed the split, stating simply, "We are parting ways with Chris, and he will no longer be a part of the team." The decision sends ripples across the league, as the Clippers currently hold a disastrous 5-16 record. While Frank publicly accepted responsibility for the team's struggles and insisted Paul was not to blame, reports suggest weeks of friction between Paul and the organization. Coach Tyronn Lue admitted before last night's game that the reunion just wasn't a good fit. Paul, who is the Clippers franchise leader in total assists and steals per game, was brought back as a veteran bench presence. His abrupt departure is an ugly twist for a future Hall of Famer who had hoped to retire on his own terms. The clock is now ticking on Paul's future, with the Clippers likely attempting a trade before the December 15 deadline. Speculation immediately turns to contending teams that could use his legendary playmaking and experience. The Los Angeles Lakers, a move that would reunite him with friend LeBron James, and the reigning champion Oklahoma City Thunder are considered top destinations as Chris Paul searches for one last shot at the elusive NBA title. Meanwhile, the Gunners navigated a tricky London derby just days after tough clashes with Chelsea, Tottenham, and Bayern Munich. Manager Mikel Arteta showed faith in his squad depth, bringing in Ben White and Noni Madueke, but maintained key players like Declan Rice and captain Martin Odegaard. The breakthrough came early in the 11th minute. Right back Ben White crossed for midfielder turned frontman Mikel Merino to head home. The Spanish international, forced into the attacking role due to injuries to Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus, is proving prolific. This was his 13th goal in 2025, the most of any Arsenal player this calendar year. Merino turned provider in stoppage time, setting up substitute Bukayo Saka to tap the ball over the line for the clinching goal. The assist marked Merino's 6th goal contribution in his last 5 games. Brentford, despite reverting to a back 5 under manager Keith Andrews, created trouble for the leaders. Goalkeeper David Raya had to make a spectacular save to push Kevin Shade's powerful first-half header onto the crossbar. The only worry for Arsenal was a double injury scare, with both Christian Mosquera and Declan Rice forced off with knocks, testing the depth of an already stretched squad. The win extends Arsenal's remarkable unbeaten run across all competitions to 18 games and marks their 8th successive victory at home. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Carlo De La Peña bringing you the latest sports news.
And before we end, may be inspired with the words of the sun. People of faith do not live in the present. They instead bring the future to the present. And as we keep track of the countdown, there's only 21 days left before Christmas. And that's all for this edition of Newsline World. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, I am Franco Baranda. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
This is SMNI News Channel. Truth